Hello everyone, welcome to BISP Solutions. So in yesterday's session, we have started with the EBS module, that is account receivable, and we have covered how you can do setup in AR. So we have started with the introduction part of account receivable. I have given small overview of account receivable. Then we have started with the setup, like how you need to create responsibility, how AR responsibility is created in the application, and then how it is assigned to the user with the profile options so that user can perform tasks in the AR module. And the profile options we have seen, like there were four basically which we have discussed. Out of that, I have told you that operating unit and GL data access set, there were two mandatory profile options to be given. Rest to default country and SLA additional data access set are optional in nature. So we have seen and how you can create a responsibility, assign the user, and also profile options. Then for this responsibility creation and all, you need system administrator responsibility first. Only system administrator responsibility, when you are having this, you can go and create a new responsibility. Fine, so we have covered all this thing. So after giving all this, you can see while switching the responsibility, and AR responsibility will be displayed. And after selecting the AR responsibility, now the main setups begins in AR. So we have seen system options first. There were various tabs like accounting, revenue management, system options, claims, transaction, and customer with various options in it. You can just go to the system option and configure this option according to your need. Then we have also seen auto accounting rules. It helps us to default GL accounts for some of the types like revenue, receivable, freight, tax, etc. We have discussed about the auto accounting rule also. Then we have seen transaction sources. So basically, transaction source can be of two type, manual and imported. If you're creating transaction manually, it's manual, and if you're bringing it from some external thing, external system, then it will be imported. So we have seen how you can create transaction source in the application. Then we have also discussed about the transaction type, like whenever you are going to create transaction in the AR, you need to have transaction type first. Like what is the type of the transaction you are creating? Like it's invoice, it's debit memo, it's credit memo, or it's a chargeback. So what is the type of the transaction we need to create first before creating a transaction in the AR? Fine. So we have seen all this thing. Natural application and over application, also part of the transaction type. We have seen that what is natural application, like when invoice amount and the receipt you are getting is same or less than that, then you can go for natural application. And over application is like receipt you're getting is over and above, like you have receipt of $500 against the invoice of $400, then there is an over application, so you can go for over application. So we have discussed this in yesterday's session. I was just giving a quick recap of what we have done till now. So let's begin with today's session, and the first topic for today is defining collectors. So collectors is a basically a official who is responsible for collecting money. So we need to configure collector in our application as well, that this is the person, this is the collector who is going to collect money officially. If you are not able to collect money from some of the customers you have, so you can go for the collector for the same. So now how you can configure the collector is you need to go to a task collectors, and you can just give the name of the collector and create a collector in the application. I will show you that, but before that, let's discuss about the collector more. Like receivable lets you define collector and assign them to a profile class or to a customer credit profile class. So basically, when you define collector in the application, when you are also creating customer there in the profile class or credit profile class also, you can go and attach a collector there. So when you assign a collector to profile class, that collector becomes the collector for customer to whom you assign that profile class. You can modify collector assignment for your customer in the customer window and for your profile classes in the customer profile class window. So basically, after defining the collector, you can assign the same to profile class, or while you are creating a customer, you can assign them to a customer profile class there. Fine. So whenever so basically, you can create a collector and you can assign the same to a particular customer profile class. So it will be like that. That collector becomes the collector for the customer to whom you have assigned that profile class. And when you also print collector's name and telephone number on running letters you send to your customer for past due items, so it will helpful for that purpose also. That collector name and telephone number and all the detail will come in the running letters as well. And disable display active collectors and their description as list of values choice in the customer profile class and customer calls window. Disable does not display inactive collector in the list of values for this window. So whatever collector you're making and activating in the instance, that only will be visible here. And you can make an existing collector inactive by unchecking the active checkbox and then saving your work. If the collector you want to make inactive is associated with an active customer, disable display a warning message. So basically, what the collector do is it's help us to collect money from the customer to whom you are not able to collect it, and you need to define collector in the application, and after defining you can attach that uh, collector to the profile class, and then that profile class is assigned to some customer, automatically that collectors become the collector of that customer to whom you are attaching that profile class. And you can just activate and deactivate the collector by checking or unchecking the active box. And if there is a collector who is inactive and you have attached that collector to some customer which is active, so when you are uh, doing this thing, you are attaching some inactive collector to an active customer, a disable display a warning message to it. So it was all about the collector. So it is very small configuration. Let's go to the application and see how you can just define a collector in the application, how you can create a collector in the application. So let me just first log in with my user. So in yesterday's session, I was using e-business user. In this session, I have created my own new EBS demo user for the demo purpose in the sessions, and I'm going to use this only. And I have also created responsibility here for AR, that is EBS demo AR. This is the responsibility of AR, and we have seen how you can create this responsibility in our previous session. So just following that step, I have created this responsibility here, and now I'm using this responsibility to do configuration in the AR. Okay, fine. So let's go to setups, collection, and you can see collector is here. So what is the navigation? Go to this AR responsibility, go to setup, then go to collections, and there you can find collectors. Okay, Java form will get downloaded. Just open it. So you can see here name, description, correspondence name, telephone number, employee name, group, and the checkbox of active and inactive, which we were discussing in the PPT. So here it is. So you need to give a name of your collector here first. Like I'm giving here as say demo collector. Now this is the only mandatory. Sorry. Fine. So this is the only mandatory field. Okay, there is a name already here. Let me try something here. ABC. Fine. So name should be unique. It was already existing here in the field here. So that's why it was not taking it. So I have changed my name. Let's say the name of the collector is ABC, and then you need and that name field is only mandatory. Rest you can see are not in faded yellow color. That means they are not mandatory in nature. So if you want, you can add description like anything like right now I'm using this as a demo, so I'm writing like for demo collector, like for demo collector, correspondence name if you want to add telephone number, if you want to add for the collector, and the employee name. So basically I have created user here, and that user I have also created as employee user. So if you want, you can add like if ABC collector is also an employee, you have created this ABC collector as employee also. So you can just map the two things like you can just go for here employee name and search for that employee ABC collector and map it. But I don't have right now any employee with the name of ABC. Basically I have created with the name of demo, so I can show that like I want to link this to. So this is my employee name demo, which I have assigned here linked to this ABC collector. Fine. So this is how you can do, and then uh, activate. This is already activated by default. So this is activating and deactivating checkbox, which we have discussed. So basically what you need to do here is simply come to this task, give the name of your collector, any description, correspondence name, telephone number you want, and activate the same. And this employee name thing is like this ABC is your employee. You have created this ABC as your employee user as well in the application. So you can just map the two here. You can give the name ABC and map employee name ABC here. Fine. And just save your work. Fine. Save your work by pressing Ctrl S or from this save icon. So basically this is very easy to create, and I have also activated the same. So this was the small concept of collector. You can come to this task and can create a collector here. Fine. So this was all about the collector. Very easy, simple. You just need to go to the task, give the name, and other informations are not mandatory. If you want to add, you can add, and just save the work, and your character is ready for the use. Fine. Now the next thing which we are going to see is the remit to address. Now, what is this remit to address? Remit to address is the address which lets your customer know where to send payments for their invoice. So basically this address is the address where your customer is going to send your the payment for their invoices. Receivable uses the addresses that you define in the remit to address window to provide default remit to information when you enter a transaction. So if you have created remit to address in the application, so what will happen when you are going to enter any transaction, this remit to address will come in a default option of remit in the entrance of the transaction. So basically this is very useful. You can just fix your remit to address there, and whenever you are going to enter a transaction under the remit to information, this address will get defaulted there. Fine. And what is this remit to address? It is the address where your customer is going to send payment for their invoices. Now, if you use auto invoice but have not defined a remit to address for a location, auto invoice will reject all invoice for which it could not determine a remit to address. However, if you do not wish to set up a remit to address for each location, you can set up one remit to address with a default assignment, and receivable will then use this address for all location, and for any location for which you do not have specific location assignment, this ensure that auto invoice will not reject invoice because it could not determine a remit to address. So basically, in short, while you are loading automatic invoice, when you're going for auto invoice thing, this remit to address become important to get configured, because if it is not configured, it will reject all the invoice. Fine. So the one workaround is that if you do not want to set remit to address for each location, you can set one remit to address with a default assignment. And what it will do, it will help you to not get reject your invoices, as you have remit to address at least one, which is coming there. So basically, this 2 point were for the auto invoice thing. So I'm not going to deal with that for now, but I'm going to show you how you can create a remit to address in the application, and uh, and how you can use the same. Fine. So apart from this auto invoice thing, the main focus of this concept was will be the how you can create remit to address in the application basically. So I'm going to show you how you can create remit to address, and in our further session we will see how you can use the same as well. So let's go to the application and see how you can create a remit to address. So basically, what we are creating one address in the application in AR, where your customer is going to send the payment of their invoices. So this is that address, remit to address. So let's go to the application and create one remit to address. So going to my Java form. So you can just navigate to by pressing Control and L. When you will press Control and L, all the forms will get open here, and now just search with remit to address. So you can see remit to address page got open here. Now how to create remit to address, just click on this create remit to address. Country is United States is fine with me. You can give your desired country for which where you want your payment to be given by your customer. Give address line, like we are creating one address as a demo, so I'm entering any address by my own, like I'm using a demo remit to address. Give city, like say New York, county, state, postal code. Fine, I think this information is fine, and scroll a little bit below. Okay, fine, operating unit is already coming. Rest is not important. I have given all the mandatory one which was required to create a remit to address. Very simple. We need to just press Ctrl S. All the forms will get open, and search this task remit to address. Come here to the page and just give the country, address, city, county, state, postal address, and create your remit to address. Just after creating this, just say apply. You can say your changes has been saved. Now let's just check, search our remit to address. So here you can see what we have created is coming: United States, EBS demo operating unit, demo remit to address, which we have created just now. So this is how you can, it's already saved, so just canceling it. So this is how you can create your remit to address. Very easy. So basically, why this is important to configure? This is important to configure so that whenever you are entering a transaction and you are giving remit to information, this address will come by default there. Fine. That where what is the remit to address for this particular customer, where he needs or she needs to send payments for their invoices basically. So this is remit to address. Now let's move to another thing. So we have seen some of the setups here, like we have started with the system options. So we have done system options, auto counting transaction, source transaction type, then we have seen collector, remit to address. Now the next important thing which we are going to see here is the opening of the accounting period. So it is very important to open accounting period, like in GL, AP, in every module you need to open a period first before entering any transaction here, because if you will not open the period, it will not allow you to enter any transaction or receipt for the same. So it is very important to open a period. So an accounting period that has a period status of never opened or future can be changed to open period. We cannot change an open period back to never opened or future status. So basically, once the period is open, you cannot change back that to never opened or future. So it's open, you can just close or permanently close it, or so it can't be changed to never open or future status. And we can enter an account all transaction in receivable in an open accounting period. Fine. So you need to mandatory. It is mandatory to open a period first. Then only you will be able to account or enter all the transaction in receivable. Fine. So how you can do the same open accounting period? Let's go and see in the application. So again, just press Control and L and search with open. Open close accounting period is the task. Just select it. So here all the periods in your PL EBS demo, when you have created your accounting calendar. So these were the setup which you have done already in your GL part. So when you have created your primary ledger, obviously you have created your accounting calendar as well. So that accounting calendar only get displayed here. You can see the list from Jan 23 to December 23. It's calendar year. Fine. So now you can see all the status is coming not open, not open. So if you want to open, you can open, like I want to open for month March 2023 and April. So what you need to do is come to this March month and just select the status and go to open. So you can see there are various status, period status, close, pending, closed, future, not open, open. So I'm changing it to open here so that I can record my transactions and all for this March month, and same I'm doing for the April as well. I'm opening two periods, March and April 2023. Fine, very easy. You just need to come here, search for the task, all the accounting, whatever the accounting calendar you have created, all the months will appear. You just need to change your status from not open to open and save it. Now when you will enter any transaction or receipt, it will not create any issue because your period is open. Otherwise it won't allow you to do any transaction in the AR. Fine. So we have opened both and we have saved our work as well. You can just press Ctrl or S, or you can just save it from here as well and close this form. So this is how you can open your accounting period. Fine. Now let's move to another small concept of approval limits. So approval limits, you can define approval limits for each of your user. Like I'm right now I'm using EBS demo. So for this user, I can set any approval limit, and when you enter any adjustment that is outside your approval limit range, the receiver will assign a pending status until someone with the appropriate approval limits approves or rejected. So basically it's like the user which we are using right now is EBS demo. So I'm giving this user of approval limit of say $100 to $200. So if this person, this user is doing approval from this range from dollar 100 to dollar 200, then it is fine. But if it is doing for say 101 or 99, 90, then it will not allow this user to approve this. It will come under the status of pending, and it will go to the someone with the approval limit of that amount which you are entering. Like if you are entering 2001, then the person with the approval limits of the range from 2000 uh, 2001 will be allotted that thing to approve or reject. So you can just go to the application, give the name of the user, and you can just give her approval limit, both lower and upper. Both you need to fix what will be the lower approval limit, what will be the upper approval limit. So this what will do, this will help a user to find a range, that what is the range up to which this person, this user, have an authority for doing the approval. So this is basically used for that thing. So for each and every user, you can set approval limit by their role and responsibility, and you can give approval limits, and it will specify one range, and according to that range they will perform their task of approving or rejecting any transaction, like doing adjustment or any chargeback or thing. Fine. So basically, it helps one user to know that what is the range of that user to do the approvals. So this is used for that purpose, approval limits. So now how you can set approval limits? Very easy. You need to go back to your application first. Control L. So this is approval limit. You can see you need to give username, document type, currency, from and to. Fine. So username, let's say take our user only. EBS demo. And document type, like you want this user uh, for this user which sorry, you are creating approval limit for this user for which kind of document, like for adjustment or credit memo or refund or receipt write off, for which kind of document you want this user to have approval limits. Like if you are setting for adjustment, so take adjustment. If you're setting for approval limit for credit memo, you can give credit memo. Receipt write-off, you can give receipt write-off. If refund, then refund. Let's say adjustment only. Now the next is currency. Let's do USD. Give from amount, like we have discussed, 100 to amount, say $200. So this is how you can create approval limit. So what does it mean? It means whenever a transaction is going on between this USD 100 to 200, and it requires approval, then who is going to approve it? EBS demo is going to approve it, and the document type should be adjustment. Then only it will come into play. Fine. So this is very easy. You can just come into this page, give name of your user, give the document type for you want this user to have approval, and give the currency and from and to amount. Both upper and lower limits needs to be given, mandatory. You can see all the fields are mandatory here. So it's mandatory to give the username with the proper document type, currency, and both lower and upper limit for your approvals. So this EBS demo, whenever adjustment document type comes into play with the USD currency and the amount from range 100 USD to 200 USD, this ESB demo has a right to approve that transaction or reject it. It will come to this user. Fine. So this is how you can set approval limits. Now after giving this, just press Control S or save your work from this save icon. Right now I don't require any approval limits, so I'm not saving, but after giving, when you require, you can just give in this similar pattern here and just save it. But right now I'm canceling it. I don't require this approval limit. Fine. So this is how you can set approval limits. Fine. Now the next thing which we are going to see is the receivable activity. Receivable activities are defined to default accounting information like for miscellaneous receipt, finance charge, chargeback, and adjustment transaction. So, and this activity defined here appear as list of values choice in the receipt and adjustment window. We can define as many activities as we need. So, basically, in yesterday's session, we have seen auto accounting rules setup, and we have discussed about the same that it help us to default GL accounts, but they were limited to some only like freight, revenue, receivable, but uh, but in a similar manner there is receivable activity task as well. It is helpful to default the accounting information for as many activities you want. So um, if you want to default any accounting information like for receivable, like for miscellaneous receipt, finance charge, chargeback, and all, you can create your receivable activity. Basically, like auto accounting rule, receivable activity also help us to default accounting information. But auto accounting rules are limited for some of the types only. We have seen it for 10 to 11 types only available for which you can configure auto accounting rule will help which help us to default GL accounts. So apart from that 10 to 11 type, you want any other thing extra thing which get defaulted for your accounting information, you can come to the receivable activity and create your activity here, and there is no limit. As many activity you want you can create. So basic difference between the two is auto accounting rule also help us to default GL accounts, and receivable activity also help us to default accounting information, but auto accounting rules are limited to some, and receivable activity can be created as many as you want as per your requirement, and both help us to default your accounting information like GL accounts and all. Fine. Now let's go to the application and see how you can create receivable activity there. So going to the instance, Control L, you can see receivables activity, select OK. Now you can see operating unit is coming by default. You just need to give the name, then description is mandatory, type, what is the type of, like it is adjustment, bank error, on discount, endorsement, financial, miscellaneous, cash, short-term debit. So various type is available here which you can choose for creating your receivable activity. Like if you want a receivable activity for miscellaneous cash, so let's give type as miscellaneous cash here. After giving this type, you need to activate it and give a name. Like miscellaneous cash, I'm giving say newspaper sales. Like it's a miscellaneous cash, giving this, and then GL account source, activity GL account, and yeah, here you need to give the account for it. So whenever miscellaneous cash newspaper sales will come, it will fetch information from this receivable activity which we are creating here. So both we have seen auto accounting rule also, they also help us to get default accounting information, GL codes, accounts and all. So and similarly receivable activity is also doing the same thing, but apart from the type in account auto accounting rule there was some of the types for which you can do the same, and apart from that type you can go for this receivable activity and configure here the same. Like miscellaneous cash was not available in auto accounting rule, so you can come here, give a miscellaneous cash type, give a name of your miscellaneous cash, and give a GL account here. And in future in further transaction and receipt entering level creating accounting, this account for miscellaneous cash will get defaulted from the receivable activity basically. So it also help us to default accounting information. Let's search with miscellaneous revenue. Give the account here. Fine. And after creating this, just press Control and S, and you can see it's got saved. This got freeze type. Fine. So this is how you can create your receivable activity as many as you want. Like in our upcoming session, we will see that creation of some of the activities are mandatory, which we need to do. Like when we are going to perform further task here. So receivable activity creation is very important for some of the tasks. Like for booking miscellaneous receipt, we have seen we need to have activity, receivable activity, miscellaneous cash. Because if you don't have this activity, then from where when you will create accounting, your GL accounts get defaulted, because we have not specified this in our auto accounting rule. So how it will get defaulted? How GL accounts will get defaulted while creating your accounting? So this is very important to create receivable activity first, so that in further process of creating accounting and all, these real codes get properly defaulted from this receivable activity. Fine. So it is very important to configure receivable activity here, and you can configure as many receivable activity you want. And let me just give a short review of auto accounting rule as well, which I'm referring. We have already covered this. So let's go to auto accounting. So these were the auto content. Let me find. For freight receivable revenue unearned are already created. So here you can see it is created for freight, auto accounting rule. So this is the code combination, like two are constant, department and account is constant, and from company transaction type is given. So we have seen this. So for freight, whenever you are going to use this freight, GL accounts will get reflected from this auto accounting rule. In a similar manner, disable activity also do the thing. I hope it's clear. Like auto counting rule and disable activity, basic difference between the two is like both helps to get default GL account only, to get accounting information only, but auto counting rules are limited. There are only 10 to 11 types for which you can make, and apart from these type you can go for receivable activity. And very important, because if you're not having auto counting rules receivable activity working in your AR, then it will get not help you to create accounting. It will create an issue while create accounting and all, because your GL accounts will not get displayed. Fine. And in further task also, you can see some of the tasks, disable activities is mandatory to be configured for some of the things. We will see this in our upcoming session. But for now, one should remember that these two are very important. If you don't have auto counting rule and disable activity working in AR, it will be it will create a problem and issue, because your GL accounts, your accounting information will not get displayed, like when you will run create accounting and all. So this is very important setup. So one thing I have missed here, like receivable activity, you can see I have just came to this Java form. I have pressed Control and L, and I have searched for receivable activity, and my forms, when I have selected receivable activity, my forms got open normally. It has not displayed any error, but sometimes it create an error while you are doing this for some first time. So what happened, sometimes it display one error, and the error is of this, uh, you can see in the screenshot, please define a party tax profile for operating unit. So this is important to define, otherwise it will not allow you to create any receivable activity, because receivable activity window will not get open. It will continuously show this error. So if you are facing this error, so what you need to do for resolving this party tax profile, you first need to have an uh, responsibility of tax manager. And after having the responsibility of tax manager, you need to go to this tax profile option, give party type as operating unit owing tax content, give your party name, this is nothing but your operating unit, then press go. This thing will come here displayed in party type, party name, you can see here create tax profile. Just go to this create tax profile and just create tax profile and apply. After applying this, when you will again try to open receivable activity, it will not display any error. Fine. So if you're facing this, I think first time when you will configure, you will face this error. If not, well and good. But if you're facing this error of define a tax party tax profile, so what you need to do, you have to give a responsibility of tax manager first. And how you can do it? You just need to go to first system administrator. Just go to system administrator, go to security, user, define, search for your user, fine. And here you can see tax manager I have already given to my user. You just need to come here and search for this tax manager and assign the same to your user, and after that just save your work. Fine. So first is this, you need to give tax manager, then after giving just switch, go to switch hat and go to this tax manager responsibility, go to parties, party tax profile, this page will come. Then you need to give party type as operating unit owing tax content and give your party name here, that is nothing but your operating unit. Mine is EBS demo operating unit, and just press go. And then after that, actually I've already run this create tax profile, so it is not giving that thing here. But as I have shown in my PPT, if you will see this figure, here you can see tax tax profile option is coming as activated here. You just need to click here, and then you can see apply icon will be coming there. Just click on apply and just close this tax profile thing and come back to your Java form and try to again open this receivable activity. This time it will open. It will not show any tax profile error. So this was one short information for the one time first time user, that they may find this issue, because I was also facing this issue while I was configuring it for the first time. Fine, so this is a receivable activity. Now moving towards the creation of the customer and customer side. So you can create customers so that you can properly record and account for sales transaction, as well as all other attributes of your selling relationship. So basically it is very important to configure a customer and customer side, that is nothing but the customer address in the application, to track all the information regarding that customer. And whenever you are booking you are creating transaction or booking the receipt, you know, need customer, right? So for properly recording and accounting of the sales transaction of the customer, you need to have your customer created in your application. Now some of the extra point here are like, regarding site or address, we can say is a location is a point in space described by an address. A party site is the location where a party is physically located. Every party has only one identifying address, but party can have multiple party site. An account site is a party site that is used in the context of an account. An account can have multiple account site. A customer address is an account site that is used for billing, shipping, or for other purpose. So basically, in short and crush, you need to create your customer and customer site in the application. You need to give all the information related to customer while creating a customer, which you find it to be useful and required while creating your customer. And customer side is nothing but it is the address, and there you can also give the purpose of your address, like it is for bill to or ship to or any other purpose, right? So you can also give that thing while creating your customer and customer side. Fine. So let's go to the application and quickly create one basic customer and customer site and see how you can do the same in the application. So let's go to the application. You can go from customer, create and maintain customer, or you can just press Control and L and can find task with the name customer. So for already created customer, you can just give a name here and search, like I think there is customer already created. Let me show you that. So here you can say EBS merger is one customer created. So if you want to view or update already created customer, you can just search by the name and it will get displayed here, and you can just check or the information, like if you want to check the CVS merger information, you can just click on this account number. Okay, it's not allowing me to open it. Fine. So basically, if it's already created one, you can search it. Okay, now it's got open. So you can see all the information here regarding that customer. You can see sites, account profile. I think the application is working slow. So when you come to this account profile, you can see collector. This is the collector which we have created in our session today. You can see this. Fine. So this is the collector. You can create collector and you can assign the same in while creating customer under account profile. Like let's search for our collector which we have created today. It is getting displayed or not here. Let's say what was it, our ABC. So you can see ABC collector is coming. You can just select this collector and give. So when you are giving this collector here, this means for this customer EBS merger, this collector is responsible for collecting. Fine. So this is the thing which we have discussed in collector, that you can create collector and you can give to account profile while creating customer. So basically you can assign your collector here while creating your customer. Fine. Let's quickly, this was the already created one. Let's quickly create one customer. So let's first, let me cancel it. And let's create a new. First, you need to give organization name. So let's give name as EBS demo customer. Fine. I'm just focusing on the mandatory fields. Organization name I have given. You can see accounting information. Profile class is coming as default. Fine. Let it be. Now the next thing is to give account side address. So country is fine with me giving the address as say customer address. Web city, giving new app only. Account side detail. And you can add business purpose here like build to, ship to. One should be in primary. Like I'm adding one more, say ship to. Application is working little bit slow, I guess. So let's say purpose, you can see various purposes there, like for which purpose this address is going to be used, for build to or for ship to or for any other purpose. You can see any purpose here like install, invoice, legal, marketing, sold to. So what is the purpose, business purpose of this customer address you are creating here? So we have, you can see here we have created this address. So what is the purpose of this address? So you can create build to and ship to, and if you want you can also add build to location. I'll just search for it. It's coming here, which we have created. It is displaying that only which we have created here. Customer address. This is only getting displayed. So I'm giving here under ship to what is build to address, and I'm just marking build to as my primary address. Fine. It is important to give one address as a primary one. So build to is my primary one and ship to is also the same. Just I'm just showing how you can add your different business purpose here. Fine. And after that just apply. Fine. So here you can see various things are coming. You can see your detail account number has been created, status is coming active, primary bill address is coming, customer address as we have checkbox it as primary address, and under customer and site this customer address is also coming. So this is done, and you can see profile, communication, for adding communication details here like telephone number, email address you want, then party relationship, tax profile if you want to add. So basically there are various tabs available. You can go one by one to each the tabs, and as per the requirement you can fill the other tabs as well. But I'm just creating one basic customer as EBS demo customer with the basic information, mandatory information which is required for the customer creation is that the organization name and the customer site with the business purpose. So I have given all the basic information and I have created my customer. If you want you can add more, and if you want to add or update your customer you can do the same by just searching the customer and update it. So right now this is fine. I'm just saving it. So you can, your changes has been saved. Now let's cancel and search back again that our customer is created properly or not. Like EBS is coming, EBS, you can see EBS demo customer has been created. We have created this customer just now. Just click on this hyperlink and you can see all the details are coming. If you want you can update it, or you can, if you want as it is, you can use as it is. Fine. So this is how you can create a customer with a customer site. Customer site is nothing but the address only, and you need to give one give a primary sorry, you need to give a business purpose as well. And if you're adding build to and ship to, what is your primary address, you need to specify that as well by checking the checkbox of primary location. And so very easy to create customer here. So it was customer and customer site. You can see here I have given one flow diagram as well regarding customer site, like what is the process flow of managing, searching, creating and updating customer information. Like you can first search for the customer. If it's already created one, you can just go and search for your customer. If you found it, then you need to update it, right? If you do not found it, you need to create a customer from the scratch. Like we have created one customer by clicking on the create icon. So you can just go for create icon thing and create a new customer from the scratch. But if you want to update, you need to first search with the customer, then go for the updation. Like if you want to update customer detail, you want to update account detail or account site detail, you can we have created customer, we have seen there are various tabs available. So if you want to update any information, you need to first search it and update the same. And if you want to create from the scratch a new customer, you need to just click on the create customer and you can create the same. So basically this flow is diagram is for that purpose only. I hope this is clear. It is easy. It is nothing very typical in this. It's like if you want to create a new customer, just go for create customer, and if you want to update, search for the customer and update the things accordingly. So this flow diagram shows that only. So we have covered today very small topic. Like we have started with the collector. We have seen how you can create a collector and you can assign the same in the profile, account profile, while creating customer as well. Then we have seen remit to address. Remit to address is nothing but it's the address where your customer is going to send payment for your invoices. How you can create your remit to address we have seen. Then you need to open your accounting period in AR, otherwise it will not allow you to create any transaction in the AR. And so very important to open accounting period. Then we have discussed about the approval limit, that you can set approval limit for the user with the lower and upper limit, and currency, and the document type for which you are giving approval limit to the user, and then user can work accordingly. Then we have discussed about the receivable activity, that is very important to get configured, because if you don't have configured your auto accounting rule and receivable activity, it will create an issue while creating accounting entries and all, because your GL account codes will not get displayed anywhere. So if it is not assigned anywhere, how it will come in when you're creating accounting and all. So very important, because this will help you to default your accounting information. Fine. And I've also uh, covered that while creating receivable activity, when you are clicking on receivable activity, it may happen that it will not allow you to go to that receivable activity window. It will throw an error of party tax profile. So how you can tackle the same is, first you need to have a responsibility of tax manager. Then after going to that tax manager responsibility, find for the party and party tax profile, and go to give your party type and party name, that is your operating unit. Create your tax profile and apply. Then you will not um, get this error. You can create your receivable activity without any issue. Then we have covered our customer and customer site, that is nothing but the customer address, that we have created very basic customer with the name and the customer address only. There are various tabs also. If you want to go, you can go and you can configure the same as per your requirement, your client requirement. But the basic thing I have covered, like what how you can give a name, organization name, and how you can give an address and business purpose, and give a primary address as well, and save your work. Your customer is ready for the usage. And if you want to create from the scratch, go to create icon, and if you want to do any updation and all on the customer already created, search for the customer and do the updation accordingly. So we have covered all these things in today's session. So thank you for joining.